Just how good will the Buffalo Sabres be this season? Find out my thoughts coming up. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Sports Talk Buffalo. If you guys are new to the channel, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button so you guys never miss a video. I talk Bills, Sabres, and the University at Buffalo men's basketball and football teams right here on this page. The time is upon us once again. It is NHL season just around the corner. The first regular season games will be played tomorrow night. At the time of this recording, it will be tomorrow night. And the Buffalo Sabres season starts in just a couple of days. So heading into this offseason, it was very evident still, and again, that the Buffalo Sabres needed a little bit more of a roster overhaul. And the Buffalo Sabres' big splash, of course, was trading their likely offensive star in J.J. Peterka, who has gotten better every single season he has been in the NHL, to, I believe, the Utah Mammoth in exchange for Josh Doan and Michael Kesselring, right? So the Sabres stressed all offseason and all at the end of last season that they needed a defenseman, and fans especially, needed a top four defenseman to pair with Owen Power to help out the Buffalo Sabres top four. We thought maybe the Sabres end up also trading away Bowen Byram to bring in some more offensive power. However, the Sabres kind of kill two birds with one stone when they traded away J.J. Peterka, and they bring back somebody who is slotted to be in the top four in Kesselring. And even though he is currently hurt, like I said, he's scheduled to be or slotted to be in the top four. He looked very, very good in the times that I watched him during the preseason. I think he probably surprised a lot of people with how well he skates and how well he can actually handle the puck. He's got tremendous size, a little bit of physicality with him. He is not afraid to fight people, so he will stand up for teammates. He brings everything that you want in a partner for Owen Power, who, while big, not an overly physical guy. He's okay at defense, pretty good at offense, great at being able to get the puck out is Owen Power when the puck is on his stick. So I think that will help settle that young man down as the season starts to get going. And I really do. At the time of the trade, everyone was freaking out. I didn't freak out. I don't want to say I was indifferent, but I didn't hate it. Okay. The Sabres also get a forward in Josh Doan, who played his first significant NHL games last year and looked pretty good doing it. I think I don't know off the top of my head how many points he had last year, but looked pretty good. And then you go back and you look at, him as a prospect coming up through the systems. He was a pretty, I don't want to say supremely, that's a big word for what Josh Doan does, but he was a really good offensive player at just about every single level that he has been at. And when you watched him this preseason, you got kind of a little taste of what he brings to Buffalo. Very good on the forecheck, has got great playmaking ability, gets dirty in front of the net, cleans up the rebounds. And I think that he has sneaky potential to be a top six forward for this Buffalo Sabres team. I really, really do believe that. I think that he ends up replacing J.J. Peterka. However, he is a better 200-foot player than Peterka was. So not only is he going to help you in the offensive zone, he's going to help you defensively as well. And right now, even though he's slotted in on the third line, I do believe he is going to be a very good player and addition for this Buffalo Sabres team as the season gets going. Now, as for the rest, I think that Zach Benson in this preseason, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm seeing things. He looks a lot faster on the ice. He looked a lot faster in this preseason. In the last couple of years, at times, he almost looked like he was skating in mud a little bit. And I think that's just because he's a very young player, right? He's now 20 years old. He's going into his third season. And what I'm excited about is the first 2 seasons with Benson, you saw flashes of him being able to be that supreme playmaker. You saw him as a puck hound. He went in the corners. He out-battles people, not afraid to go to the front of the net. He is a dog and the truest sense of the word. And I think this season, he is primed for a breakout, right? He's going to be potentially playing on that first line next to Norris and Thompson. That's going to help him quite a bit, especially with assists, as both Norris and Thompson can absolutely fill up the back of the net. But I really do think that he is primed for a breakout season. I think that he finds his consistency in scoring this year, and that mixed with Doan coming in, I think Doan takes another step in his NHL career. I think he puts up more points. I think he's going to be in the 40-ish to 45-point range. I think Zach Benson's going to be in the 45 to 50-point range. And then you have, obviously, Alex Tuch, who, even though he doesn't have a contract yet, right, he's playing for that new big contract. He says he wants to stay in Buffalo, but it looks like he's looking for quite a bit of money. Now, I don't know how much everyone else is comfortable with, but I think the 9-ish million mark, 9, maybe a little bit more, to 10, with the cap potentially going up. I just don't know how much more I would pay Alex Tuch. The reason being, not because he is not insanely productive, not because he's not a great two-way player, not because he's awesome in the locker room, but because of his age. A lot of things that Tuch is able to create is with his speed, and as you start to get older, you start to lose that speed a little bit. I believe he's 29 years old, or 28 or 29 years old. So how many more prime Tuch years do you have? If you sign him to a 7 to 8 year extension, you're stuck, right? This isn't like the NFL where you can cut him in the 5th, 6th, 7th year. You're stuck, right? So you have to sign him and really hope that he doesn't lose as big a step as some other players did, right? Like Jeff Skinner, even though he signed that giant contract, he was absolutely dreadful under Ralph Krueger, but Ralph Krueger was dog shit as a coach just from the get-go. I applaud their effort for trying to go outside the box, but just not a fit with what the Buffalo Sabres were and what they had on their roster. It didn't mesh, especially not with Jeff Skinner. Had 2 of the worst years of his career. As soon as he leaves, Jeff Skinner goes back to being an absolutely offensive dynamo, right? Just scoring goals left and right. And then he had the drop-off. And that is what I'm scared of with Alex Tuch signing a big, big contract with this Buffalo Sabres team. I'm scared of the drop-off. However, I think he is a guy that if you want to win and you want to win now, you have to keep him here. So it really just depends on how much the Buffalo Sabres value him and how high they would be willing to go. Here's hoping that Alex Tuch doesn't believe he's worth 12, 13, 14 million, because I don't think anyone else in the NHL does, but I mean, maybe him and his agent do. And he signs for Buffalo with a reasonable contract, that gives them flexibility to be able to make some other moves, right? But that second line of looks like it's going to be McLeod with Zucker and Tuch on the right side. That's a sneaky good line for this Buffalo Sabres team, right? And I think, it's a very good line. You got multiple guys who are 200-foot players in Tuch and in McLeod. McLeod hit highs offensively last year with 50 points, and I believe he had 20 goals. That's a career high. 50 points, I believe that was a career high as well. You have Zucker, who looked like he had a resurgence last year, and he looked pretty good in the preseason this year as well. And I think that he's going to score a lot of his points, especially on the power play. He's going to help out this Buffalo Sabres team. And if he scores anywhere from 18 to 22 goals, you're getting your money's worth out of Zucker. If Alex Tuch can get you 55-ish points to 60 points because of the overall, how good he is overall, right? The entirety of his game, that's worth probably 9 to 10 million with a new contract. And then obviously, like I said, you have McLeod in the middle. The third line is looks like it's going to be Kulik with Doan, and I am drawing a blank off the top of my head right now. Quinn on that third line. And I think this scares me a little bit because Quinn still didn't look that great in the preseason. And the Sabres just signed him to 2 more years. And I'm really, really hoping that Quinn can get going, right? That he can pick up where he left off at the end of last year, because he was on fire offensively at the end of last year. He looked great, like fully healthy Quinn. When he first came to the NHL, he scored a boatload of points, a boatload of goals. He looked good. And I hope that he can regain that confidence, because if they do, they're going to have a really good third line as well. Kulik looked very solid and very comfortable in his games in the NHL last year. I think he scored 14 goals, but overall point-wise, I think he had 20-ish, 25 points. He's going to need to be better than that for the Sabres, I think, if they are to be successful. But he's got, like I said, he's got to find his consistency. I think that Doan, as we talked about, is going to be a really good player, and I think that they're going to put him potentially on the power play, whether it's the first or second unit, and I think that he's going to be able to score quite a few points there, as well as with Kulik, be able to feed off of Kulik and be able to score a bunch of points on that potentially very good third line, that very offensive, surprisingly offensive third line. And then the fourth line, of course, I think it's like Peyton Krebs with, my goodness, I'm drawing blanks with Malenstein on one side and Danforth on the other side. And I think that's also probably a sneaky good line as well, because all of those guys have a little bit of offensive ability, as well as being able to forecheck really, really hard. So the Sabres look like they have 4 lines that they can compete with on pretty much any given night. And I think that they could roll 4 lines most games and feel comfortable with just about any of them out there. Obviously, your big two lines are going to get a bulk of the minutes, right? And why wouldn't they? Because Tage Thompson and Josh Norris looked tremendous this preseason. I think Tage Thompson's going to do pretty much what he did last year. He's going to have 40-plus goals, probably going to have 75-plus points. And the big thing is, if Norris can stay healthy, if Norris stays healthy, he's going to be very, very, very good for this Buffalo Sabres team. I think he's starting to build a lot of chemistry with Tage Thompson and Zach Benson, and I think that he ends up putting up potentially career numbers with this Buffalo Sabres team again, if he stays healthy. That has been his biggest issue. It's not his offensive ability. It's not his 200-foot game. It's not face-offs. It's not whatever. It is his best ability has not been availability. And if he's available, if he can give the Sabres 75 games, I think this Buffalo Sabres team is going to surprise a lot of people and be in that conversation as one of the bubble teams for the playoffs, maybe even the third team in their division to make it into the NHL playoffs. So let's start talking about prediction. Now, this preseason, the Sabres finished 3-2-1, right? They finished 3-2-1. Of course, they're not going to, the preseason doesn't mean a whole lot, right? It doesn't mean a whole lot. But I think, in all honesty, that is if you are the head coach, you should say to this team, this is a sustainable way to play. 3 wins, 2 losses, and an overtime loss. If you did that all season long, your record is 41, 27, and 14, which gives you 96 points. That is right there in the playoff mix, and that would be one of the best seasons the Sabres have had since they made the playoffs 14 years ago. They last made the playoffs in 2010, 2011. I believe it was 2010, 2011, or it was 2011, 2012. Either way, that was the last time they made the playoffs, is when they had 96 points. And it would be the best season that the Sabres have had in that gigantic span. And I do think it's possible. Watching this team play, I do think it's possible. Now, the biggest hurdle is going to be the start of this season, because Alex Lyon is going to be the Buffalo Sabres starting goaltender, because Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is hurt again. And even though he played a majority of last season, I don't know what happened. He strained himself. He sprained himself. He pulled something. He's week to week right now. He's on IR. He's going to start the NHL regular season on the IR. He's out until at least October 15th, and probably longer, realistically. But Alex Lyon's going to be the starter. And while I think Lyon is going to be okay, I have serious questions about Georgiev, and so do the Buffalo Sabres. I am drawing a blank on the young man's name from St. Louis off the top of my head, but it was a goaltender that the Sabres just claimed today on waivers to bring in to challenge Georgiev for that backup position. He had very good numbers in the as the starting AHL goalie last season. He had like a .922 save percentage in the AHL as the starter last year in the St. Louis system. But we'll go back to Alex Lyons. Lyons, in his last few seasons, the thing you can take that as positive, right? His numbers are not going to pop your eyes out. In the last 3 seasons, from 3 seasons ago till today, he started with Florida, a .912 save percentage, and I'm just only going by these are the most he's played. In the last 3 seasons, this is the most Alex Lyons has played. A .912 save percentage. He started 14 games. He went 9-4-2. Then he moved on to Detroit. He started 43 games. He went 21-18-5 with a .904 save percentage. And then last season for Detroit again, he started 26 games. He went 14-9-1 with a .896 save percentage. So again, these numbers aren't going to blow your mind, but the one thing that you can look at is he is a winning goaltender. So even though his numbers might not look tremendous, it looks like he does make the save when you need him to make the save. End of game situations, power play situations, when you're up by 1, you need that big save. It looks like he is the somebody that makes that save and can at least buy the Sabres enough time, right? You've seen that he's got experience playing a good number of games. It can buy the Sabres enough time for UPL to get healthy and either take the backup spot behind Lyons, if he's playing that well, or come back and be the starter again. And hopefully he has a bounce back season. But behind this newly improved defense, I truly think that both of these goalies will have solid seasons, right? Like a .905 to a .910 save percentage type season. I think the biggest thing, again, going into the season is all of the injuries. Jordan Greenway on the IR, out till at least October 13th. Samuelson is day-to-day. He practiced, but had a non-contact jersey on. Their big addition in Kesselring, I mentioned before, he's hurt. He's on the IR. He's going to be on the IR to start the season. He's out till at least October 15th. And then you have Owen Power. He's on the IR. He's out till at least October 15th. So you have 3 of your top 6 defensemen all out to start the season potentially, which is not good, right? That's not the way you want to start the season. But I do think the Sabres have enough talent. They have enough forwards that can play a full 200-foot game that can help out their defense, that they're able to, at very least, hold it off until their reinforcements come back in and they are able to establish themselves moving forward for this Buffalo Sabres team. So again, what do I think the Buffalo Sabres are going to finish at? I think they're going to finish right what I said earlier. They're going to win about 41 games. They're going to have 27 losses, and they're going to have 14 overtime losses. There's going to be a lot of close games for Buffalo, and they're going to finish with 96 points. Now, again, give or take the 14 overtime losses, but I think the Sabres finish around 96 points. I'm buying in again this season. It didn't work well for me last season. Not even a little bit, as my prediction was way off. I said the Sabres make the playoffs last season. I wasn't going to be that foolish this season, but then I watched them play in the preseason, and I liked a lot of what I saw. There was so much potential in this team. Lindy Ruff's second year. I know people don't think he's a good coach anymore. He's still a good coach, and I think that he has enough left in the tank for this team to be able to make a push, and they make the NHL playoffs for the first time in 14 years. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Am I way off? Am I close? Did I undersell this team? Did I oversell this team? Let me know. I try to answer each and every one of you guys. I want to thank you guys all for watching, especially if you made it to this point in the video. So thank you guys, and have a fantastic week.